Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 in Flux. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we talk about movies on this show. And we're back. It's been 2 weeks since the last episode. I mean, it's been longer than that since we recorded one. But
yeah. It feels good to be watching a movie again, doesn't it?
it's been a while. We've had a very busy TV schedule, so we were a little later on episodes the past month. And we won't have one next week. That's fairly certain. But we'll be back to one per week after that.
Yes.
We're pretty confident now. Now that we've seen what Netflix has got planned for the next month, we can be quite confident.
And we do promise when we get a quieter period in, a month or two,
we'll
do some extra.
Yeah, we already have tentatively scheduled. I say tentatively because who knows what else will get announced in terms of to do, but at least right now there are 4 extra episodes planned for July on top of the regular 4. So theoretically, once we get to July, there'll be 2 a week for a while to make up for the lack of episodes over this past month. That is the plan. It's also worth mentioning the next 2 episodes, when they do go up, will be the top 50 movies of the 1990s. That is the plan. So you get a countdown 2-parter, and then we'll be back to the regular movies after that. But this episode is actually a movie, of course, and it is the winner of the Patreon vote for the month of April. Well, the vote was in March. The movie was supposed to be done in April. We're slightly late. We're a few days late in getting this done. But here we are. So this is The Ladykillers, the original film from 1955. Alec Guinness, Peter Sellers are in it. The director, of course, was Alexander Mackendrick. I say, of course, as I obviously have to glance at it to check who it is because I didn't know who it was. But hey, this is a comedic thriller, I guess, is the way I'll put it.
Yeah, because it's always billed as it's a heist movie, right? But the heist is a minuscule element.
Yes, the heist is a plot element, but it's not all building up to a heist. The heist actually happens relatively early.
The heist is essentially the setup, and then the fallout, and the interactions of the result of the heist.
Yeah, the premise of the film is that Alec Guinness and his band of criminals, there's this 5-man team who are going to rob this armoured car. And this house happens to be near a train station. The house, of course, is the old lady, which, I mean, she has a name. She's, what's her face? Mrs. Wilberforce. That's actually a pretty cool name. But they all have, like, their code names, so she's referred to as the old lady, and then all the men have their Professor Marcus, Major Courtney, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Lawson. So you got all these names. But basically, she's got a room to let, and they decide to stay at her house because they're planning the robbery right next to her. And this is kind of their safe house, and they've got all this big plan that is kind of going to involve her, without her knowing that she's involved in a robbery, but sort of involving her in a way so that, because no one suspects the old lady, who's, it's
a pretty solid plan, not gonna lie.
And that's kind of it. But, of course, she is a very pernickety old lady who likes to get her nose in other people's business all the time.
That you've just described every old lady.
A lot of old ladies. I won't say every.
I'm generalizing. I do this.
We've definitely met. I think we've all met at least one old lady in our time like this.
Yeah. Look, I generalize about everyone else, so it seems fair to generalize about old ladies too.
so that's the setup, and hijinks kind of ensue. And it's funny because it sort of, the movie starts and it kind of treats it like a serious thriller where Guinness's character's first coming to the house, and there's a lot of like
scoping it out and setting it up.
Yeah, but the way it's shot, it's all like the shadowy figure. You just see like the shape of the hat, and there's a man with a hat. That's all you see through the window in the background. You just see this, and it's very pantomime. It's got the music's very sort of on the nose and sort of kind of all this stuff going on. But then once it gets going, it's all about the characters interacting with her and kind of like dancing around her and trying to like do their plan, and just how. I mean, it's a comedy about how, it's perfect, this plan with the old lady, but the old lady just keeps sort of interfering in ways she doesn't intend to, and because of that...
And then you've still got some bumbling buffoonery on top of that.
You've got some bumbling buffoonery. So that's the gist of the movie. So I'll ask the question. We'll start spoiler-free, of course, as we always do, and we'll give you a warning before spoilers, but... So what did you think? Neither of us had seen this before. This was a first-time watch for both of us. So how did you feel about The Ladykillers?
Yeah, I had a blast with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. A lot funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I also liked it a lot. I don't think I was expecting it to be quite... Basically, there's a whole gag that keeps coming back up where the old lady just won't leave them alone. They try to like get on with something or do something, and because of the way she is with people, and she won't shut up, and she won't stop telling stories, and she won't stop asking about things. And, the movie opens with her going to the police station and asking, "Is it? Oh, the neighbour saw an alien spaceship. Oh, it was just a dream." But you get this idea that she's constantly going to them with complaints
Just
and
stupid
stories.
things, yeah.
And they kind of like, it's just the old lady again. It's fine. Like, just, ignore her.
Some great payoff to this.
Yeah, be nice and let her go. And because of the way she is, she keeps... And probably the funniest thing to me in the movie was every time this happens where they're waiting for her to do something, but she keeps drawing out the thing she's doing for so long, and it's just them giving each other glances of like, really? And their reactions and the frustration of them waiting for her just to get on with the thing she's doing.
Pretty much. And, there's a point where, they shut the door on her, and she just opens it again. Just because she has a little, been a bit nosy. It's like, I want to see what's going on. I'm going to open it again.
Yeah, it kind of, that's kind of how it is. And I think, obviously, we said it's very pantomime. I think that kind of stays throughout the whole thing.
There is a moment at the end that is pure slapstick that came out of nowhere and had me in stitches.
And it's funny because there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of hijinks. I wouldn't say there's a lot of slapstick, though, in the movie up until that point.
No, that's why it just hits out of nowhere, and it's so funny because of it.
It hits out of nowhere. Very good. Very good. Yeah, because as much as it's very hijinky, there's not a whole lot of slapstick up until that moment. So
it's just a lot of wordplay for a lot of it.
A lot of wordplay. There's a little bit of cat and mouse that happens towards the end with various characters, but it is very much a lot of wordplay. It's a lot of Alec Guinness trying to present himself as the charming, sweet professor, and try to charm his way out of every situation. Not only with her, but with the other men when there's an argument. It's like, keep calm, and he's always been smooth and try to do all that, and
he's very good in the role, isn't he?
Yeah, and they're all kind of memorable for the most part. You've got him as the leader. You've got One Round, who's a sort of bigger guy. That's Mr. Lawson. You got Mr. Robinson, who's played by Peter Sellers. He's kind of
the charming one.
I don't know. Marcus is kind of the charming one. I would say he's just more the straight man. It's weird to say Peter Sellers is the straight man, but he kind of is, because then you have Mr. Harvey, who's the intimidating one, because he's the one who hates this plan. He hates working with the old lady, and he's the one who's always thinking right away that he's the one who's going to try and kill people probably first before anyone else.
His introduction, because like we say, the professor's he's there at the house first, and then the others come round, and he's the last one to arrive, and he is just full silhouette. It's almost like there's a lightning strike when he gets there.
Yeah,
it's a great look.
You got him, and then of course you have Major Courtney, who's kind of the bumbling, friendly, like, I'm thinking like Professor Plum. I'm getting Professor Plum vibes from him. I guess is what I'm saying. In One Round, of course, we mentioned he's the big guy. He's also a bit of an idiot. He's the big dumb dude. So you got this wacky cast, and you've got her going around, and their story is that they're there. It's just a professor who's staying there, but he's like, oh no, my friends we're a string group. We're going to play some music. We're going to practice, and they of course convince her, like they put on a record. So it sounds like they're playing music. And what I love about this is when he was telling her earlier on, we also play music. It's like, you're a doctor of music? No, we're just amateurs. We're amateurs. But then he just puts on a symphony or a string quartet, an actual recording, of actual musicians playing stuff. And I'm like, if your stories you're an amateur, you don't just play perfect music that's been played.
That's true. But there's a thing with this that I loved is this suite that is played repeatedly. They use it just as the score, even when it's not being played in the scene. It gets integrated into the score.
It does. They use different instruments though, because when they're doing the heist, you hear piano playing it. You hear all sorts of things.
Right up until a point where one of the characters smashes the record, and then you never hear it again.
Yeah.
I loved that.
It's a nice touch, but it cracked me up because I feel like that's the sort of thing that it plays because the movie is very pantomime. I feel like if you put this in a serious film, that you're tricking someone into thinking there's actually instruments being played in the house when it's just playing music over speakers. I feel like that wouldn't play because it doesn't sound the same. It feels different. But in this movie, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Just works, doesn't it?
For a start, she's she's an old lady. Her hearing's probably not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's just the tone of the movie is, again, it's very cartoony. I can imagine this. I assume this has been done on stage. This story.
It almost certainly has.
I imagine maybe the heist itself is taken out of the stage version because it's the only thing.
That bit kind of just happens off screen.
Yeah, but I feel like the rest of it in the house could totally be a stage play.
Yeah, definitely.
But hey, so you got all that going, and it's very funny, it's very charming, and the ending's again kind of amusing, and it all kind of comes together, and yeah. So, but that's the spoiler-free version, I guess. So we'll unlock the spoilers, so full spoilers from this point on for the Ladykillers. So, their plan. Their master plan, obviously they're playing the music, and obviously there's the funny bit where she keeps coming up, saying, "Do you want some tea?" "No, we're fine." And they put the record back on, and then she knocks...
Scrambling to pick up the instruments before she comes in the door.
And then she knocks on the door again. She's like, "How about coffee? Would you like coffee?" No, we're fine, thank you. And, she knocks on the door like 3 times. It's like, "We're very fine, very kind of you. Piss off now." So the whole plan is that, like, okay, so if we steal stuff from the armoured car, they're going to expect us to try and smuggle it out in the trains, because the train station's right there. And they're going to be checking any packages that are outgoing, because they might even think, oh, we'll try and send a package out, as if it's, luggage.
Because I can't remember who it is, one of them suggests that as the plan. And he's like, don't be so stupid, that's the first thing they'll think of.
Yeah, but his genius, and it is quite genius, honestly, is that they smuggle it in, and they mark it as incoming packaging, and they send... basically, what we find out is that they've asked the old lady, "Oh, hey, I have a package arriving at the train station. Could you go pick it up for us?" So you have this sweet old lady coming in and picking up an incoming package, and it's like, yeah, this doesn't look suspicious. I'm like, this is actually kind of... For the time, it's kind of genius. I'm okay with this plan. But the stuff that was cracking me up, though, is they've got one of them across the street, like, watching, and then the rest, at first it's just the professor, Alec Guinness's character, and then the rest of them are sort of waiting outside the phone box, but eventually they'll end up inside, try to listen to it.
Yeah.
But so he's on the phone. Sellers is over the phone. He's like, "All right, she's left. It's worked. She's in a taxi. She's left with the lolly, as they kept calling it, the stolen money." Yeah. And then, like, 2 seconds later, the car comes, back round, and she's like, "Wait, she's coming back to the train station. She's coming back." And for the first time in the entire movie, Alec Guinness starts losing his shit. He's been so calm and composed. He's always got that smile on his face, and he just starts, like, hitting the phone off the phone box.
Yeah.
And the others who can't hear him are outside, and they're just freaking out, like, what's going on? What's happening? And of course, the whole thing's a joke, because she's just coming back for her umbrella, which they set up in the opening scene. She always leaves behind.
Yeah.
And she comes back for her umbrella.
I think that's the really good thing about all the comedy in this is it's really well established and set up and payoff. And not just in one scene. It's things that are set up at the start of the movie get payoff right at the very end. Yeah,
it's really a masterclass in comedy in that sense. And then they're following her, and she tells the cab driver to stop at one point. And so what's going on? And she gets out, and she's upset because there's like a fruit salesman. He's got like a little cart. And there's a horse. Someone's got a horse that they've parked the horse and cart out next to his fruit stand, and the horse is eating some of his fruit, and he's getting really upset, and he's like hitting the horse's head. And she's like, "You can't do that. You can leave that horse alone right now, young man." And that's like her whole thing. She just stands there and like argues with him. And eventually, the cab driver comes out and tries to, "Hey, this is not really any of our business. We should move on." And the entire time, like, they've followed her in the car at this point. They've got their own car, and they're all
like, "Come on, get going."
They're all watching from a distance, and they're all just sort of like biting their knuckles, watching through the window as this is happening. Yeah. And it just keeps escalating to the point where she actually yells over to get a policeman. And like, "Don't bring a policeman! What are you doing?" And eventually, there's a policeman there. And all this stuff, and then it breaks out into a fight. And by the end of the scene, the cab driver's cab's been wrecked by the guy who had the cart because he got angry at him and pulled off the headlights. And there's like, "Okay, I'm not going to be a cab driver anymore." And then the guy who's selling the fruit, like, "I'm not going to do this anymore." And then the other guy's lost his horse because the horse ran off. She's ruined everything because she can't keep her nose out of things, and. It's this thing, and again, the funniest thing about the whole thing though is every time each thing escalates, it cuts back to the group and
just
the car,
them getting worse and worse,
and just watching this and just being like, "Oh my god, that is like our £60,000 in that box. Oh my god, get it back to the house now, you old bat, please."
I dread to think how much 60,000 was in the 50s.
In 1955, I'm sure that was
A lot.
I'm sure that was a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Because now it doesn't sound like. I mean, it's not doing. If someone handed me 60 grand, I'd be quite happy with it.
Right. But you're splitting this between 5 of them.
Yeah, that's 12 grand each.
Thank you. I was fine. I got that. My point was just, it's actually not that much for the effort that they're going through.
Oh yeah, and in today's money, it's not.
Yeah.
But in 1955, I'm sure this was
A lot.
because they're still talking about shillings at one point. He's like, "Oh, I'll pay the shillings for the week." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
If you're talking about shillings, 60,000 is a lot.
You might as well be telling me you're stealing $1 million.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how much it converts to, but in my head, yeah, it's about $1 million.
I could look it up, but I'm not going to.
It's not worth it. It doesn't matter.
So anyway, so that's the thing. And then after that, because the police have been involved, she's actually at the station again, and the box with the money, the trunk with the money in it, is sitting on the porch of the police station. And then she has the policeman help her carry it to the house. And the whole time, again, they're watching it and they're biting their knuckles. The whole thing is one of my favourite types of humour. Is just the sort of thing where you're just watching the reaction to something, and because it means something to them, you're just laughing your ass off because it just keeps escalating.
You've got this nice old lady thanking the police officers. Oh, thank you very much for bringing this in for me. And they're all like, oh, it's no problem, it's fine.
Yeah,
and they're just there terrified.
They are. It's absolute gold. And here's the other thing. So there's a little, because obviously at this point you're like maybe almost halfway through the movie. By the time they're about to leave the house with their money and they're all happy, they get to go, they're off scot-free, and I'm like, alright, well obviously something else has to happen for the movie to continue for the next 40 minutes. What's going to happen?
We need the rest of the movie.
And I'm like, well, does she see something? Or whatever.
Some bumbling buffoonery.
And it does end up being buffoonery, but what I love about it is they actually didn't tell us what they'd done with the money. They didn't tell us that they'd put all the money in the instrument cases for the cellist and so on.
And I think this is what I like is we'd seen that they had actual instruments before.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
because they were scrambling for them when she came to the room, so we knew that at some point they had physical instruments in these cases.
Yeah, and they're trying to get away. And again, it's a funny scene because they're all trying to get away as quickly as possible, and she keeps trying to talk to them as they're leaving. They're just like, we can go. Thank you very much, old lady. Bye bye. They're getting out. And it's actually one round who gets one of the straps at the bottom of the case gets caught in the door, and he's trying to pull it out, and he rings the bell, and he keeps trying to pull it in. Just as she opens the door, the case flies open, and all the money just kind of
it's just so impatient,
explodes out, and she sees it, and they all run up and just shut the door quickly on her.
Yeah, it's like, goodbye, we're done here.
And then she's walking around the house, just kind of like clearly thinking about putting two and two together, like, what's going on?
It looks out the peephole and it's like, as it tries opening the door again, and then you just get Alec Guinness, you're pulling it shut. We're going now, goodbye.
And then the movie, and of course why it's called The Ladykillers, is ultimately the movie becomes, what do we do about her? She can, as one of them points out, some of our faces are in the system. She can point who we are out. Our fingerprints will be all over that house. Like, they can find us now if she talks. So it becomes this debate, what do we do with her? And it's the first that they try to convince her, try to be smooth.
Yeah, their logic is, it's a harmless crime. They don't want it back, because that just complicates things. Right now, yeah, sure, the bank's lost the money. The insurance will pay out the 60,000. They'll add an extra, whatever it was, onto, tiny little bit onto everyone's premium. No one will notice individually. The insurance company will make all its money back. No one cares.
Like,
and she's like, yeah, it makes sense.
Makes sense, but it doesn't seem right.
And then you have one of the guys out in the hallway goes, I never thought of it that way either.
Yeah, no, it's one round. That's one.
Yeah.
Every time there's something where someone's like pointed out something, he's like, oh yeah, that's basically him every time. He's the one going, oh yeah. And eventually they're like, well, no, she's like, no, you know what? You have to turn yourself in, and because they eventually try and turn it so that they scare her into it, because like, oh well, technically we came up with the plan in your house. We plotted to do this in your house. You brought the money here.
Yeah, and we'll tell them you didn't know what you're doing. We'll tell them you had nothing to do with it. But they're not going to believe us. Look at us.
Yeah, and ignorance is no excuse in the eyes of the law.
Exactly.
And she gets all concerned, but then she's like, you know what, I don't even care. I'm going to fess up, and whatever happens, happens. I'm going to walk out of that police station, and you're going to give that money back. And that's the point where, of course, the shady one is like, well,
You know what we got to do now?
we have to kill her. And they get matches out, they draw straws, essentially. And at first it's the major who's supposed to kill her, and then this is where things really start getting hijinky and fun, because he gets alone in the room, and he instead of he claims to her, I'm just going to go and get the police, and because they're all going to try and kill you. Like, I'm going to go, and he actually in turn tries to sneak away with all the money himself. So this is where they all start
stuck on the roof.
Yeah, they all start turning on each other, and they end up having to kill him. There's actually this funny running gag in the last half of the film where every time one of them gets killed, the rest of them drop them over the bridge onto a train when the train's going past, and it becomes this running thing where they keep having to do it. But yeah, so that all plays out, and one by one, and the dynamics kind of change up, because one round kind of decides that, you know what, I actually kind of like this old lady, and I don't want to be party to murder. No one's killing her on my watch, and he kind of becomes a defender almost, and we get this back and forth until eventually it's down to just the professor and shady dude, and them trying to out kill each other basically, leading of course up to the moment of the slapstick that you were referring to. He climbs down part of the bridge, and then what's his name? What's the shady one's name? Harvey. Mr. Harvey climbs down after him, and he managed to pry him off the ladder, and he falls into the train. He's dead. He's all laughing, and then out of nowhere, the train sign comes down, the crossing sign,
smacks him in the head,
and then he falls into the train. So
it's beautiful.
They're all dead.
It's so out of nowhere, and it's not very slapsticky up till this point. And then just bang, there you go. And, man, I mean, stitches. It really did.
Yeah, and again, this entire heist was foiled by an old lady just being an old lady. That's the joke of the movie.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the film, she is left with the money, and it clicked to me. As soon as we see her go to the police station, it clicked what was going to happen. As she tries to tell the sergeant about what's happened. Oh, it was this heist, and this all happened, but I swear it's all... And... he just acts like, and they think she's telling a story. She thinks this is just like the spaceship. This is not real. So they just play along with it. And she's like, yes, but what about the money? It's like, and because they think it's not real, they go, well, as far as we're concerned, that's yours.
And she's like, yeah, they'll just put the insurance up. They said that would happen.
Yeah.
And then along went, yeah, basically.
And so the cheery music starts playing as she walks out, and she gives money to a homeless man, and he's almost calling her back, because he's like, wait, you give me too much. This is more than what you give a homeless person.
You have her leave behind her umbrella.
Yeah.
The police, they run after her again. And
I'll buy a few more.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't need that one.
Yeah, I'll get more. I never liked that one anyway. All I could think was poor policeman's holding this umbrella. What am I going to do with it then? You just left me with an umbrella. That's your trash.
Go give it to the homeless man.
You could probably use an umbrella.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear.
Oh.
And those other moments, when there's a point where a sergeant comes in to check on her.
After they all got pulled over, and she called the police over to get involved with that. They come to check up on her on that. Just go, it's all sorted.
And it's that night. It's after they've all been revealed to her, and they basically say, "Hey, don't you tell him anything, and whatever you say, he can't come inside. And if he does insist, he needs a search warrant." But she's so scared of everything that she opens the door, and she's acting so unlike herself. She's being really stern. She's like, "What are you doing here? What are you wanting? You can't come in unless you've got a search warrant." And that was another reaction moment for me, as it cuts back, because she says that without being prompted by insisting to come inside.
And everyone else goes, "Oh God."
That is okay, now it sounds suspicious. Before it was fine, and now you sound like the most suspicious anyone ever.
And anyway, he walks off and he comes back. She's like, just buzz off.
Yeah. He's like, that's strange, she's acting weird. Because he knows her well enough that he's like, hey, it's me, it's Sergeant, Robinson or whatever his name is.
She's always at the police station.
Yeah, she knows them all. She's on first name basis with pretty much all of them. And it's just, again, that reaction of her just saying, oh, yeah, you don't have a search warrant, do you? He's like, why would I want a search warrant? It's like, well, you don't have one, do you? Well, off you go.
Yeah, I love how they're all hiding in the hallway, behind curtains. It's very, it reminds me of Monty Python and the Life of Brian, where they're hiding in the room when they're getting searched, and they're all in these really obvious places, but it just doesn't matter. It's the same here, where in just one glance, you can just see them all just stood there, basically.
No, it's a super entertaining movie. The comedy for me plays very well because it's less about punchlines. It's like the setup's there, but the actual punchline is very rarely an actual line of dialogue that pays it off. It's usually some sort of action. It's usually the punchlines themselves are usually silent because it's just something you see. You see someone react to something, or you see whatever, you know. And there's some scenes that are, you know, like, if I'm going to say a scene that I didn't like as much, the scene where the bird gets free and they're all just kind of trying to catch the bird and he falls through the chair. I'm like, okay, because that was kind of slapstick. That was probably the one example of slapstick before that bit at the end.
It was, and that bit does because there it kind of just feels like, okay, this is a bit different.
I think that scene's just there to show that, okay, so like, you know, not only is she interfering in their plans, all 5 of them end up involved in trying to catch this bird. Like, she's actually getting them all involved.
I do like how the parrot is actually just talking.
Yeah, do you know what's funny actually? When they introduce the parrot at the start, because at the start when when the professor's in the house, he's like, oh, you've got a room to let, and he's asking questions about it, and she's like, oh, the house sort of gets slanted in the war, so that's why the paintings are all kind of slanty.
Yeah.
And so because he tries to fix a painting at one point, and it just kind of slips back into place.
Yeah.
And he's asking all these questions about the rooms and whatnot, and then eventually there's a noise like, who's that? Is there someone else here? You know, because obviously he's very concerned about there being ears and eyes to, you know, see things and overhear their plans. And she's like, oh no, I've got 3 of them. It's my parrots. And
you're like, oh, they're going to hear it and repeat it back to the police.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a plot point at the end. I thought the parrot was going to repeat a part of the plan, but it never came up. It was just not part of the movie.
I don't know how it is, but the parrots sound like it was Sellers voicing them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It sounded like it to me, but maybe I'm just...
I'll be honest, the first parrot, the first time we hear it before we see it, I didn't think it was a parrot. It sounded more like a duck to me, the first sound effect.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Was it because I was like, she got a duck? That's a weird thing to have in your house. And then the camera pulled back and was, oh, it's a parrot. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
and then the noises kind of changed to be more parrot-like from what I'd expect.
It became actual speechy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just enough veered towards duck, and then it became more of a parrot screech afterwards. But I thought it was a duck at first. I was like, that's weird. But
I can hear it.
Yeah. Can you have a big tank, have a duck in it in your house?
I don't see why not. I don't know why you'd want one, but
I agree. But
I mean, you can have a duck pond, right? And you know, out
true.
the back.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm sure some of them wander inside from time to time.
I think the thing with a duck though is you need like a larger surface area of water rather than
you do,
deep.
but I think the ducks wander around, so they can wander in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why a pond works, because you're outside. You got.
Yeah, but what I mean, you leave, if it's out the back, you leave the back door open. The duck can wander in.
Sure, yeah. If you want a duck in the house.
If you want a duck in the house, it works. If you want that in a movie.
I mean, you could do. Just glad she's not got any cats to try and eat it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure my cats would have a go at a duck. Duck just wandered in.
Yeah. But what about chickens? Some people do that with chickens, don't they? Just have the chickens wander around.
Is this leftover because you just watched Lost in Space and there was like a pet
No,
chicken
I actually
on
know
that?
people with chickens.
You know people with chickens?
Yeah.
Not farmers.
No, not farmers. I just know people with chickens.
There's people with a chicken.
Well, I mean, they got more than one, but yeah.
Do they cook them every so often?
I don't know. I mean, they eat the eggs, that's for sure.
See, I don't like eggs, so I'd rather cook the chicken.
I mean, maybe they do when the chicken eventually dies. I don't know, but I mean, they close off the back. Put a little like mesh fence over it so they can wander around.
As someone who enjoys meat, it feels weird to me to have a pet of something that I eat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but here's the thing: my favorite meat is lamb, and I live 5 minutes away from a slaughterhouse next to a field full of sheep and lamb. So
but that's not your pet.
No, but my point is, I see that on like a daily basis. So I'm like, ooh, dinner. When I go past that, I'm like,
but you're not attached to those. No. If you got a pet, you're attached to the pet. You like the pet. You have a bond.
Still eat it. Doesn't bother me. Food's food. Well, all I'm
food.
saying is, it all comes from the same place, attachment or not. Might as well eat it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I had a chicken, what separates that chicken from all the other chickens that I eat on a regular basis?
Once it dies, not a damn thing.
I feel like you're not grasping the concept of what I'm saying.
No,
here.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, what separates it? Nothing. For me, that's my answer. It's like, yeah, sure, it's a pet, whatever, and oh yeah, eggs, cool. But if that's dying, here's what separates it: the extra effort I have to go through to prepare it. There's your answer.
You are a soulless monster. Just let that be known.
Well, I'm not advocating for eating all the pets. Just if it's one that you eat on a regular basis anyway, then sure, go ahead.
If I loved a pet, there's no way I'd let anyone eat it after it was dead, regardless of what it is.
What a waste. You got pet chicken. Why are you burying? That's a perfectly good dinner.
Oh dear. Where were we? We were talking about the parrot.
We were, yeah. That was the scene that didn't land.
Oh yeah, that was the scene that probably didn't land. It's not a terrible scene. It's just it's
just a little overlong for what it is.
It's kind of there to set up like how much you can interfere, but once it gets to the heist itself, it's just this glorious line of funny like set piece after set piece.
Yeah, and this is very much if it's down to your taste in comedy. But for me, this works.
Oh yeah, it works for me as well. And I love we kind of glossed over the scene where they're trying to talk to her about going or whatever, and she had like a dinner party set up with other old ladies, and one by because a second old lady because like, oh yeah, do we knock out both of them and take them in the car? And a third and fourth walk in, and then a fifth and sixth like, should we charter a bus? that was a funny line.
And she's trying to get him out of there, and you've got all the old ladies going, oh, they are staying. Oh, can you play some music? And obviously at this point we know there's not even instruments in there, even if they could play them.
The funny thing is there's a point where she wants to talk to that, because this is right after she's found out about them, and she wants to just talk to them, and she's actually getting annoyed by the other old ladies being old ladies. Like, they are being old ladies to her. And it's if that makes any sense, but you know what I mean.
They're all being interfering and nattering and just wanting to talk.
And then eventually, all five of the guys have to sit through this awful. And it's just this awful. Like, whoever was doing the sound mix for this really had fun just with the annoying old lady talk, because there's just like six old ladies.
Just, directions.
Just constant. Yeah. You can't make out any of the sentences or sounds. It's just meh, 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 all over the place.
Yeah.
So
And you've got, she comes, look, you can't leave now because they're all here. Can you please just pretend to be civil gentlemen for a couple of hours? And they're all like, yep, I suppose we could manage that.
Yeah, and they're all like a little upset that they're leaving their instrument cases out in the hall, like, and just looking back at them and like, okay.
Just they don't quite trust all these old ladies around them.
Yeah, when they don't know anything, they don't know there's anything there to steal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's another plot point, of course, is that eventually she actually locks all the instruments in a room. It's like, just so temptation doesn't get the better of you, and you all do the right thing and turn yourselves in.
Yes, but eventually one of them takes the key.
Mm-hmm. Yep, indeed.
Tries to make a run for it.
That's the second one who tries to make a runner. Sellers, it also leads to his death.
I very much enjoyed that debate, when Sellers is out there going, right, how am I going to do this? He pulls up the gun, it's like, no, that's too loud. And the shade offers up the knife. He's like, oh no. You can even go, that's too messy.
Yeah.
Pulls off the tie. It's like, yeah, go on, this'll do. Choke with this.
Yeah. But then he gets in and she's asleep, and it's like, I just steal the key and
just slip away.
Take the money. Yeah. It's good stuff. And that was the thing, because one room gets mad because he actually thinks that she's dead when she's asleep and starts getting all vengeful. But no. It's alright. It is a very funny movie. Lots of fun set pieces. The actors, all five of the guys and the old lady are all perfect.
They're all great, and they play off each other fantastically.
Yeah. It is a brisk 90-minute ride that is constantly funny. So, I think with that said, make this a bit short and sweet, this one. But what would you give this out of 10?
I'm going to go with an 8.5.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, see, I'm trying to. I feel like I'm giving too many 0.5s recently, but I kind of agree with that.
That's the thing. I feel like maybe a 9, but then you've got like the parrot scene, kind of. I mean, it's not quite there.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than just an 8.
Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, 8.5. I think I agree with that. Highly recommend checking it out if you've not. I know there's a remake with Tom Hanks. I don't know if that version's any good or if it plays similar comedy or whatever. Hard to say.
Yeah, I think there's a reason to remake this. You can do it with just the same thing but with a different style of comedy.
Oh, you could, yeah.
And I can see that working. The core concept, just okay, these guys, here's the heist, it goes wrong, comedy, and you just do a different take on the comedy. So I can see there being merit in a remake existing.
Yeah, and I like Tom Hanks, but I don't know if Tom Hanks is appealing in replacing both Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers in their prime.
No, he's very good, but
I mean, don't know, Tom Hanks may be better in certain other roles, but in a comedy like this, I don't know, like.
Yeah.
This cast is kind of perfect. This is kind of lightning in a bottle in terms of the casting, I think. So
yeah, definitely.
I recommend. Check it out. I'll have some fun. It's a great little 90-minute watch. It's a very brisk watch as well. Yeah. So obviously it's 1955, so it's a super old school movie. There's the odd like sort of dated looking effect or whatever.
Mainly when they stood outside the house, looking out to the street.
Yeah, that's always like a rear screen projection kind of job, and it always looks a little bit rough. There's one or two day for night sort of moments as well that are a little bit, but it's just technical stuff at the time. You can't really.
It's usually not too offensive though. Never takes you out of the movie too much.
So no, that is the Ladykillers. So by all means, if you've seen the movie, let us know what you think of it in the comments. So just to reiterate what we said at the start, there will be no Influx next week, but the following week we'll be starting our top 50 movies of the 1990s. That'll be a 2-parter, and then we'll be back to movies every week. And as we said, we have already scheduled in makeup episodes, so there'll be 2 a week in July, at least right now. Assuming there's not other announcements that maybe make that month a bit busier, but there'll definitely be extra episodes later to make up for the time off.
They will be coming. You will get a minimum amount this year.
Yeah. So look forward to that. And obviously the new vote will be up in Patreon soon. We've not quite put the new votes up for the month yet. But if you, if you watch this early on Patreon, because you get this a week earlier on Patreon, yes. Sometime in the next few days, the new vote for the next month, not only for this, but also for Screams After Midnight and 1.21 Overload, will also be up.
Of course, if you're watching this publicly, go check out the Patreon. Those are there already.
They are. Worth mentioning, the top post on Patreon also has links to all of the YouTube playlists and the audio feeds and all the various other shows we do. If you want to browse other stuff, that is a good way of doing it. But of course, also YouTube channel's good as well because everything's neatly organised. Because I'm a stickler for.
We've basically gone. Take your pick.
So
whichever's best for you.
But no, that is us. So, by all means, let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, usual stuff. We mentioned Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the show and the channel. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.